Welcome to EGH British Cars, and today we're at Curt's Hobby gas station again to see what's happened since we were here last about a year ago. So here's the station. So you can see Curt's been busy doing ballast. He's laid a lot of track, which was not here last year. I think that the station itself is about the same. We've got some rolling stock out and a bench for waiting for the train. And here comes the train now.
Hello again. Done a little more work last time you were here. I've been working on the train for the railroad. Spent most of the summer making the track, which is used track from another train, but the scale was different. This is what they call a G12. And what was given to me was a G10. So I had to cut all the rails apart and re-weld them, and then it didn't come with curves. So I spent most of the summer making the curves. You gotta cut all the ties off, bend the steel, and then weld it all back together, which is really, really time consuming. I've got about 250 feet of track, maybe a little more. But the plan is to make sure it works first, and what I would like to do is expand it out to an L on the other part of the property, but let's get this to work first. The engine is at my other house, and my son is making it go from a gas engine to an electric engine. It's a diesel. It's a 50s diesel, and the cars all need to be restored. They came from an old drive-in as an amusement park ride, and I've probably had it for 20 years, but I never had the space to put it anywhere. And when we bought the old farmhouse, we have space now. So this was my summer project, along with mowing the grass and doing a little bit of the garage itself. But it's been a long project, and I think I've probably got another year before these will be all painted and looking beautiful, and the track will work.
And you've got to change the engine from a horrible fossil fuel burning, smoke belching, gasoline powered to a nice clean EV, right?
That's correct. Yep. It had an old Wycoming one-cylinder engine in it with 2 torque converters, and I can't find parts for it anywhere. So my son and I, or actually mostly my son, is going to convert it to electricity, and we're going to put solar panels on the roof of the train station and make our own charging station. So yeah, we'll be EV green friendly.
And it'll be just like California. It'll be the train to nowhere.
It is the train to nowhere. But it's been a long project, and I figure another year and it'll be nice. I'm building other things to go with this station. We'll go inside the barn. I'll show you a gas pump. Actually building a little race car to put out here. It's a what they call a quarter midget race car from the 50s. And I've found most of it in the scrapyard and resurrected a lot of it. I had the frame and part of the cowling, but I've made everything else. I've taken a Spitfire rear end, a British car, and I've cut it and shortened it down, and then another British car was a Crosley I used for a front end. So we cut that down, and it's got GT6 wheels on, so a lot of it's British.
And it's a Hillman motor too, right?
It's a Hillman motor,
and
yeah.
transmission.
And transmission.
Everything's been sized down, so it's not a British car anymore. It's just a Brit car.
It's a Brit car, yeah. Okay.
All right, well, let's go take a look at that.
Okay.
So here's the quarter midget. You can see it's quite a conglomeration of parts. We'll take the hood off here in a minute, but there's a Hillman motor and a Hillman transmission. This is here. And this is just temporarily is a Chevy steering box, but he's got the correct one for it now. And this is the rear end out of a Spitfire that he narrowed to fit in. Can't see it too well. And I think we got most of the body at Carlisle one year, didn't we?
Amherst.
Amherst, okay. There used to be a big swap meet in Amherst.
Yeah,
And this is a Gilbaco gas pump, which is probably from the 50s, do you think?
yes.
Curt's been restoring. Actually, I had to call a specialist in from California to install the glasses for him. And these are the stickers from the Arab oil crisis when the price of gas got so high they couldn't read on the pumps because the pumps wouldn't charge more than $99.9. And B.A. never knocks. Curt can talk about that too.
Okay, this is another one of my rescues. I found part of it at the Nashua dump and part of it in a swap meet in Amherst, New Hampshire. The frame is a Model T frame that was shrunken, and I used a Crosley front end out of an English car, obviously, that I cut and shrunk that. And in the rear, it's independent rear, which is kind of odd for something like this. And it was a Spitfire rear end, which again, I had shortened down to fit the wheelbase of this car. It's got a Hillman motor that I took out of an English car. Unfortunately, I'm afraid, I feel sorry for cutting the car apart because it was not a bad car, but I needed a really tiny 4-cylinder engine. I tried to find a Crosley, but I couldn't until after I had done this. So it's a little 4-cylinder with a 3-speed gearbox, and it's got GT6 wheels on it and GT6 front brakes.
Which are disc brakes.
And the rear's got drum brakes. And the way I'm going to work the rear is with this handle here. I'm going to make it just cable operated. Because really and truly, most of these early quarter midget cars didn't have front brakes. But I don't plan to go very fast with this anyways. I started this a long time ago. And again, it got put on the back projects because of all the stuff I have to do at the farm. But eventually, I hope to get it done and running. And it should be a lot of fun. I have a complete dashboard for it, the Hillman, which is kind of nice. And in the back here, I'm going to put the gas tank. I haven't done it yet, but that's where it's going to go. It should be a fun car to drive around, not very fast because I'm too afraid of it, but it probably weighs 1,000 pounds at the most. So it should go really pretty fast, even though it's got a little TD engine in it. But it was a lot of fun building it. You know, I had to fabricate a real lot to make everything fit and work. It's one of my projects that will get done, I hope, someday. And anyways, I had restored this over the winter, and John came up and put the glass in for me. But this is going to go in the gas station that the train's around.
Do we know what BA stands for?
I do not know. We had bought a lot of this parts at Hershey, which we just came back from. Unfortunately, I did everything on a budget, so this was the cheapest one. Okay. This is almost a finished product. I have another one that I picked up in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which is right over here. And this is how rough this other one was. So it goes to show you that you start off with bare bones and you try to make them beautiful again. It's, you know, it takes a lot of work. This is a little bit fancier one than the other one I did. It's got a little more chrome on it, and I think it's a little bit earlier too. I think this is probably mid-50s is what I'm guessing. Back when gas was 24 cents a gallon. So.
Well, I paid that for gas, so it can't be mid-50s. Well, at least it was used up into the 60s anyway.
Right. So,
and you got a lot of restoration parts from somewhere too, right? Hershey.
Yes, when we go to Hershey, two women that sell gas pump parts for restoration. It's called Too Cool Pumps, and the women are super, super smart and super help you find stuff that's really weird. And
they're a hoot to talk to too.
And they're a hoot to talk to, and they go way out of their way to find stuff, and you know, they've been very helpful as far as restoring old pumps. I have this one to do, and then there's one over there that's in pieces that those are the two doors for it. It's a token, which is an earlier pump than these. And the two sides are in primer over on the other side of the barn. And I'm actually doing them for a company I used to work for called Midget Racer. And they got to put it in their showroom because they used to be a gas station. Now they sell tires.
And that's in Nashua, New Hampshire, right?
It's in Nashua, New Hampshire. And they're good people, and they've always been good to me. And I told them I'll buy it, but it's going to probably take me a year to get it done. And they laughed and said, okay.
So I hope you all enjoyed that. You know, it's always a lot of fun coming up and visiting my friend Curt, going down to Hershey, seeing what the projects got done while I was gone. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you on the next one.